dark tourism. Visitations to places where tragedies or historically noteworthy death has occurred. Or the act of travel and visitation to sites, attractions and exhibitions which have real or recreated death, suffering or the seemingly macabre as a main theme. People travel to see a beloved artifact, a beautiful landscape, a notorious painting, or to experience an unknown culture. But sometimes the purpose of our traveling is a little different than the harmonious visits we tend to take. We will experience a bit darker, to visit the place of the disaster that was all over the news, to see a concentration camp where thousands of innocent people worked themselves to death or got executed or gassed, or to visit the impressive cemeteries full of thousands of white crosses. All of these examples, and even more, are captured under one type of tourism: dark tourism. Dark tourism is not a new phenomenon, but has recently gained more publicity over the last decade. Due to the attention by the media and press over the past years for all that has to do with death and disaster, the concept of dark tourism has continued to grow. According to Shane Weber, dark tourism has been part of our fascinations for many years. It started in previous times, when spectators came to watch the cruel and violent fights between Roman gladiators, individuals and wild animals, and where public executions were a nice trip out for the whole family. Dark tourism has further evolved from the previously listed attractions to the most recently Ground Zero in New York, where the Twin Towers collapsed after a terroristic plane hijack, the Paris Tunnel where Princess Diana was killed, and the Anne Frank house in Amsterdam where 8 Jewish people were hidden from Nazi persecution behind a bookshelf. Now, however, visited for very different reasons. History is of great importance in today's society. Without learning from what has happened in the past, or if the memories of the event will fade away, we will never understand what happened, and it might occur repeatedly. That is why education is of great value in the motivations of people to visit dark sites. Abundance of the education is so told that the general public can understand what has happened and will learn from the past. Moreover, some education is also aimed at specific people in order to learn from the past and prevent these kinds of tragedies and catastrophes from happening again, such as the Holocaust or 9/11. Another motivation for people to visit dark sites is to feel connected to their personal heritage. It is not uncommon for individuals involved with death and disaster to return to the site of the event. These individuals, such as survivors or veterans, are directly related to the event, while other individuals are descendants and friends of victims and survivors, sometimes even relatives. Of course, there are also visitors who are not related to the event whatsoever, but identify themselves with the victims and survivors or others involved. For example, religion matters, race matters, violence matters, or movie star fans. Not all of those motivated by heritage and identity do visit the exact place of the event. There are also museums, reconstructions, or other representatives to visit. Visiting a tragic place may evoke emotions, especially when there is a connection between the visitor and the sufferer. Not only the people who are searching for the heritage need the support of others in order to deal with the gained information about the identity. The victims, survivors, and other individuals involved in the disaster need support as well. A good example of showing why supporting the victims, survivors, and other individuals involved is important is the case of New Orleans, where on the 29th of August 2005 Hurricane Katrina made landfall and, due to a series of events, the majority of the city was submerged underwater. Only a few months later, the multinational tour operator Gray Line announced that its business in New Orleans would relaunch featuring Katrina tours. Of course, discussion immediately arose under the inhabitants. Earning money by using the disaster was not a good idea. Later they found out that tourist practices at the site of disaster can offer a provocative mode to negotiate the social drama of nationhood through challenging tourist imaginaries of space and belonging. Having others understanding the situation you are in is for the victims just the support they need. But not only do they get moral support, due to the touristic tours at the disaster site, the economic situation can get back on track. As for many people, dark tourism is seen as something negative. In fact, it has many benefits in today's society. Dark tourism does not only contain watching when a house burns down or looking at a fight in the middle of the street, it has a way broader scope than we think. There are many motivations for people to travel to a disaster site. Think of educational aspects. Learning and understanding history can prevent events and disasters from happening again. But also finding your own heritage, finding your identity by religion, race, or by your ancestors. Furthermore, dark tourism is also a way of support, morally and economically, to the victims and survivors of a disaster. For example, Hurricane Katrina and the tourist tours. All of this concluded, we can state that dark tourism will always be associated with negative aspects. Fortunately, nowadays, the positive aspects prevail.